Tonight, I want to give you a training that normally I give to clients, and many of my clients have been through this and found it a little bit helpful. I thought it might be helpful for you. So here we go. This is the resume refinery phase. I have 9 pillars in the tech career accelerator, and I use a method called the metallurgy method. Now, when I was switching to a tech job, and I want to tell you right up front that this is going to help you switch to a tech job because it will help you understand your mentality a little bit better. When I was switching, I would just do a big push and then I would hit a roadblock. And I would had a chance to either look at it and evaluate it or just keep going as if nothing happened. Or other times I would have a little success and I would get a screening call and I would shut down everything. And because I thought, well, this is exciting and I'm tired, I might as well just shut it all down and wait a week and see how this screening call goes. Getting into a tech job, switching careers into tech, into IT, into an AI sort of profession, it's going to be a slog. And so many of the blockers are right up in here for you. If you can identify with that and you like where this is going, would you just take a moment and like this video? It'll help the algorithm show YouTube that this is worth watching. And if you don't, then don't like it. So just do what you want. All right. I'm not pushy. All right. So here's what this is: a pretender without food versus a quiet person with wealth. Which do you want to be? A quiet person with wealth and food. I guess he's got food. All right. So there are many inputs in this line. I'm going to take us across this line tonight. And there are many inputs to you and who you are as you try to switch into a tech career or level up in your tech career. You've got your life background. Maybe you come from wealth. Maybe you come from nothing. And maybe no one in your family has a degree. Regardless, you come from a certain type of background. A new skill is a new input. So every time you have a life situation, it's a new input. A new skill is a new input. A new opportunity comes along, that's a new input. And every time you take action and put a job application in or create a new resume and get that ready, it is a new input into the world you are trying to change. And because of that, you need to evaluate every time what I'm about to take you through. You have a chance to start off from where you're at today and compare yourself to friends and family. Now, when it comes to comparing in tech skills, programming, understanding AI, algorithms, how good you are at coding interviews, managing tech projects, you're probably not comparing those to friends and family very much. But what you are comparing to friends and family is success. Probably success. One of the reasons you probably want to get into a tech job or make your tech level up in your tech career is you have looked at other people in life who've had success and you want to get that because you see how tantalizing and enjoyable it is for them to clock out at the end of the day and have a relaxing evening, to have enough money to go out on the weekends or maybe even go on vacations. A lot of people that I know in their 30s, 40s, 50s are struggling to have some of those things I just mentioned. So whether you compare or not, it's something that we just naturally do. Whether it's good or bad, we compare. Okay? And then you have your own feedback to look at from interviews and interviewers and feedback from recruiters. Sometimes recruiters will tell you what you need to change. Sometimes they won't. But all of this feedback here is valuable. So we have inputs right here, and we have feedback. Now let's talk about some of these options here. These are sort of decision charts, and I do this in a really low-tech way. I hope that it helps keep your attention. I took this sort of presentation style over to for work. I took it over to Taiwan and had some coworkers there who smiled when they saw it because it's so low tech. Maybe it's helpful. Hey, maybe we can start a trend. People are going to drag rectangles around on the screen. All right, for presentations. So compare to friends and family, compare to business perspective marketplace. This is an input into your brain, into your emotions, into your psyche. It is an input which is going to happen when you bump into your first mini success. When you get that response, yes, let's have a screening call. You are going to now have some more input that's more valuable. Now, what are you going to do with that? Because up to this point, maybe you have not had much success yet and you want more, but you're running into some blockers. And here's what this chart will show you. It will show you how to have success and maybe identify something you haven't before. A lot of people stay stuck up here and they never get to the point where they get feedback from the marketplace. But then when they do, they're not used to it. So if they do not compare themselves to the feedback they're getting from the marketplace, they start to become a pretender. They start that journey. And if they don't compare the feedback, then this is the type of loop that they get into. I see this. False pride. I know more, and they start comparing things that don't need to be compared. I know more about Java than my sister. I know more about project management than my neighbor who I hang out with at the bar. I know more about Agile or AI than my pastor at church. See how ridiculous these comparisons are? Of course you know more. And you know it's ridiculous too if you were to do that. I'm not saying you've done it, but I've seen and experienced in my own life where I've done that. And I do it in order to stay in a comfortable place, a state of coziness. And when that happens, it is false pride and dreaming, a vicious cycle. Vicious circle? Tell me in the comments. Which is it? And so this is dangerous. No means we're not taking the real feedback from the marketplace. Let's say you had a screening call, and in the screening call, you were rejected. You were said, "I thank you for your time, and then we'll be in touch." And they never get in touch. That's the feedback you need to listen to. And if you don't, you're going to get in this vicious cycle down here where you keep studying, you keep taking courses, and yet you're not paying attention, and you need to pay attention to what's being said. If you do take it, here's what's going to happen. You will end up with some humility. This humility is highly, it's so difficult to get because it takes going through hard things like this feedback. Now, these are just life principles, perhaps, but because you're getting into tech and you think, I just got to keep pushing. It's going to take 500 applications to get into a job. And, you know, my brother-in-law got into tech and he did it with only 50 applications. I'm sitting here at 500. What's wrong? There's a good chance that you could be missing some training and some strategic advice like we give to people, but most likely you are not listening to what the market's saying. If you're getting ghosted, that's feedback as well. Why do you think you are? All right, so if you do listen, you're going to have humility and say, I'm really not that good yet. All right, so next we have another cycle over here. Let's talk about that. You're going to then enter into the phase where you're taking tests, you're passing or you're failing, you are trying to get certifications and you pass or fail, or you encounter a new sort of a new roadblock where you're not able to quickly learn, cloud storage, Amazon products, AWS products, for example, or Cloudflare products or something of the like. And or you can't learn object-oriented programming, or you can't learn functional programming, or you can't figure out algorithms. I've got a thick book over here. It's called Cracking the Coding Interview. And a lot of that stuff in there is, it's schooling me. It's very deep. It's top level stuff. And I tell you, I am not a guy who's able to work. I'm not a guy who's able to pass the most difficult, LeetCode code tests. But what I am is someone who's learned how to persist and get some results. And because of that, I've been able to have a job and work hard at the job. So you're probably like that as well if you're watching this type of video right now. So I'm with you. Now, when we do get that humility, like I said, we are now we're bordering on being able to enter the marketplace because we've got the right attitude. Back here, we don't. If you're down in this cycle, you don't. So now we have the option. Do I listen to the standards, or do I not listen? And what happens if you don't listen to the standards? Take a guess. We get frustrated and we start thinking there's something wrong with us. The frustration comes from not being able to take another dose of humility that we could take up here and work on the skills. So this is, as time goes by, we're going to encounter these roadblocks that are really just stepping stones. The roadblock of some initial rejection, maybe, or even when we look at, I could put in here, job requisition requirements. If you're unwilling to look at that, that is the same as being unwilling to accept that you got rejected for a certain job you applied to. And over here, when you're not able to look at the results of your tests, you will run into big issues because you'll just be frustrated and you might even regress back to over here dreaming. What is a dreamer? A dreamer is somebody who really desires something, but just enough to keep dreaming about it. Okay? A producer and a planner, they are often not the same person as a dreamer. A producer and planner often just stays busy and they do not go very far, but they don't seem to have a vision for things, but they get things done. And because of that, they start to get really good at things. There's a book by Cal Newport named So Good They Can't Ignore You. I believe that's the title. One of my clients referred that to me. Thank you, Steve. And so when you start to get good at something, you start to find results. Often the dreamers, you want to get into your next tech job, but you don't want to seriously do the work. And so you end up just staying in your shell and telling yourself that you're good at it and you're really not. So the point of this video is to try to get you through some of these hurdles. And I want to put up the warning sign saying, look, when you get feedback from the marketplace, like job requisition requirements, or when you get through 3 technical interviews and then you get nothing, you have a temptation to just slack off and say, well, you know what? There's nothing, I'm not doing anything wrong. There might be a point where you truly aren't doing anything wrong and you should just keep moving forward. But usually there's something to learn about every quote unquote negative situation. And that is going to give you humility if you want to learn it. And then finally, as a recap, when you encounter standards such as what's required of you for certain positions, so it kind of relates to that there too. But when you for example, fail a test, and you can't figure out the language, it's too hard, or a principle, or how to write certain algorithm, you are tempted to become frustrated and say, what's wrong with me? I can never learn this. I tend to fall in that trap, by the way. But if you work on it, you'll start to see measured progress. And then this little box down here will start to happen. You'll start to get more confident. So I encourage you to keep pushing forward, but not without thinking about what you're doing and how you're feeling. If you can evaluate, find out if my P3 diagnostic covers this. And so, but false pride, dreaming, frustration, and something's wrong with me, which is imposter syndrome, basically. All of those things come from essentially being unable to look at the true results and look in the mirror and wipe off the mirror and say, how does my hair look? Do I need to work out more? That's me looking in the mirror. Okay. Do I need to get a little more fit in this life? You need to do that when you're switching into a tech role, and really, really consider what other people are telling you and what your own self-paced courses are telling you. You can do this, but not without doing these things. All right. And even if you're a genius and things don't come difficult for you, except getting a job comes difficult for you, there's a good chance you're just not taking this right here. Take this little pill, it'll help you. All right. I hope that's been helpful. Please subscribe if you think this is helpful content, and do add a like and any comments. I respond to all your comments. Have a good day.